Welcome to Project Nigeria. We are live at AFOREVO studio in Ikeja, the heartbeat of Lagos. We're talking about Nigeria. Like Charlie Boy, we always say, our mumu don't do. Hashtag towards 2019 election. Today we have a special guest and he will be telling us his mission for Nigeria, because Nigeria is our country and Nigeria must work. Don't go nowhere. Keep watching AFOREVO TV. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Project Nigeria. Our guest today is Davidson Isibor Akhimnien, a presidential aspirant under the GDPN political party. Today, we'll get to meet him and know what he has for Nigeria and Nigerians. Sir, over to you. Let the people get to know you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be in your studio today.
Thank you very much.
My name is Davidson Isibor Akhimnien, and I'm a presidential aspirant on the platform of Grassroots Development Party of Nigeria. Grassroots Development Party is one of the newly registered parties by the INEC. It was registered in 2017, precisely in the month of December, when we got our registration certificate. Okay. However, before then, it had been a non-governmental organization, and it had been involved in grassroots projects in the 36 states of the Federation. It, however, metamorphosed into a party with a grassroots agenda, developmental agenda in mind. And that's actually what attracted most of us into the party, because of the heart we have for, Nigerians. The grassroots people. Because, as you know, about 90% of the population of Nigeria, a population that's estimated about 200 million people, are grassroots people. And in the past, grassroots used to be associated with rural dwellers. But today, grassroots goes beyond that. Grassroots also encompasses, persons of low economic status. They don't necessarily have to be grassroots dwellers, rural dwellers. So it's, it makes it more compelling, for there to be an intervention.
Now, you talked about so many developmental projects that the GDPN has been running across the 36 states of Nigeria, including the FCT. Can you mention a little bit of those projects for?
Yes, the GDPN had been involved in empowerment programs, of the less privileged, skills acquisition for the youth in various parts of the country, and also caring for the handicapped persons, and people in old people's homes and the rest. So GDPN had been involved in such social and welfare programs before metamorphosing into a political party. And we're bringing that philosophy, of thought and that action into the political space. Okay,
so can you let the people know where you are coming from? Because we had so many presidential aspirants, some without shoes, and they got there, they got so many shoes and still left those without shoes to be walking barefooted. What is your story? Where are you coming from?
Okay, I think that experience is rather unfortunate, Human nature is such that if you don't tame it, if you're not focused, you may not be able to stand by, your philosophy of
growing up.
Of thought. So where I'm coming from, I was born 53 years ago, precisely on the 6th day of May 1965. I was born to mixed-blooded, mixed-color. I was a child of mixed parenthood.
Okay.
My father is a retired military officer, Captain David Akhimnien, retired of the Nigerian Army.
Okay.
My mother is of blessed memory now, Mrs. Blessing Akhimnien D.I.A from Asaba in Edo State. I was born in Kaduna on the 6th of May 1965. I went to primary school in Army Children's School, Kakuri, Kaduna. I attended my secondary education at the Nigerian Military School, Zaria, from which I proceeded to the University of Ife, now called Obafemi Awolowo University, to study my first degree in modern European languages. Okay. So I have a first degree in Portuguese and French, BA Portuguese-French combined honors.
Wow.
After the University of Ife, I went back to my military career because I was sponsored by the Nigerian Army while in the university, and I had to go back to render service. So I was posted to the Nigerian Army Engineers, where I served for a while before being redeployed to the Nigerian Army Intelligence Corps because of the nature of the course that I studied in the university. I was in the Nigerian Army Intelligence Corps for 4 years as an Oscar Romeo before I gained admission into the Nigerian Defense Academy as a cadet of the 29 Short Service Combatant course of the NDA. I graduated from that institution in 1990. I spent 6 years as a commissioned officer. In all, I had spent 19 years, 57 days before retirement as a lieutenant in the Nigerian Army. From there, I started my civil career. All the while, I've been in the security field. My civil career started in Adeleke Industrial Estate, where I was the chief security officer of the Pacific Group of Companies, with headquarters on 100 Oregon Road in Lagos, Ikeja, Lagos. From there, I proceeded to the Babcock University, where I was appointed Director of Security Services.
So the Adeleke Group?
In 1999, upon inception of the university. And I served in that capacity cumulatively for 12 years. I just resigned from the university a few months ago as Director of Security Services. Now I also established my group of companies. King David Group of Companies, with vast interest in security, logistics, hospitality, garment manufacturing, and protocol services. Talking about my educational qualification, in all of these years when I was doing service in my civil career, I obtained several academic degrees. One was a postgraduate diploma in pastoral studies, theology, from the Babcock University itself. I had a master in criminology from the University of Lagos. I had another master in international law and diplomacy from the University of Lagos also. I had obtained certain diplomas from the Universidade de Brasilia in Brazil, a diploma in Portuguese, and another diploma from the Université Nationale du Benin in Togo. I am currently on my last dissertation part of my studies in PhD Political Science from Babcock University. In the next 2 months or so, I should be doing my defense and all that, rounding up. So, you know,
that's quite a healthy profile you have there, quite an enviable one. So after this break, we'll get to talk Nigeria proper and the agenda that you have for us. Don't go nowhere, viewers. We'll be right back. Like Patutome would say, Patito's gang, we are back Project Nigeria. I'm a guest, D.I.A. Wow, with your vast knowledge in security, what are your agendas for Nigeria, especially taking security into cognizance, given the myriads of challenges that we have, from the Boko Haram, now to the herdsmen, now to the common criminals on the street kidnapping here and there? Project Nigeria, security, what do you have for us?
I think I like that question because it will appear that security is our greatest problem in Nigeria today.
Okay.
And you have not asked me about developmental projects.
We're going there.
You have not asked me about the economy. You have asked me about security, and I think that's very much in line.
Yes.
Because without security, there's no development. There can be peace, there can be progress without security.
Sure.
And so security is a major thrust of our program as a grassroots development party when we come into power 2019. I am a product of the security family. I've been in security all my life from age 12.
Wow.
And today I'm the president of the Association of Licensed Private Security Practitioners in Nigeria.
Okay.
You could say I'm the commander-in-chief of the unarmed security forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which constitutes about 5 or 6 million guards all over Nigeria,
wow,
spread in the nooks and crannies of this country. However, let me go to the question you asked directly.
Okay.
There is the need to revisit our security architecture as it's presently constituted.
Okay.
First, the insecurity problems that we have in the country today are as a result of very fundamental issues. They cannot be divorced from the economic problems that we have. They cannot be divorced from the political problems that we have experienced as a nation. And so addressing security problems will have to involve a double-pronged approach.
Okay.
One, trying to curb causes of insecurity at the roots.
Because something inspires.
Absolutely. I just told you about the economic and the political.
Okay.
Curbing it at the roots, and also stemming the tide of the current cases of insecurity in the country. And this can be done with, measures that can, in the short term, address cases of insecurity in the country. But you see, look at the long term. It's the long term that matters.
Okay.
Building a nation is what we need to begin to do now, because anything you build on a faulty structure, on a faulty foundation, will eventually come tumbling down like a pack of cards. So we first have to build this nation, you understand, this nation called Nigeria. And that's why I'm always talking about the rebirth of Nigeria.
Okay.
We have to, we have to reborn Nigeria. We have to recreate Nigeria. There has to be this cohesion, this spirit of cohesion and nationalism on the part of each and every one of us, wherever we come from, irrespective of our religious, ethnic, or political persuasions.
Okay.
We have to rebuild our country.
Okay.
Now, in order to curb insecurity in Nigeria, in talking about the long term,
okay,
4 issues are necessary for any government to consider, and these are what we are going to be considering. The first being the issue of leadership.
Okay.
Leadership must be seen to be visionary.
Leadership of the security outfits of the country.
I'm talking about political leadership.
Okay.
Leadership must be seen to be visionary.
Okay.
Leadership must have all it takes to look at the entire global trend holistically, and then apply, requisite measures in order to streamline, the things that you have to do in security to make sure there's, maximum impact.
Okay.
You're also talking about the issue of governance. Governance must be just. Governance must be impartial. Governance must be seen to deliver the economic dividends of democracy. Governance must be seen to offer, security and safety and welfareism to all strata of society with the maximum concentration on those that are on the fringes of society. That's the grassroots people that we reap. I mean that we're fighting for.
Okay. Now,
no, I'm not finished.
Okay.
I talked about leadership. I talked about governance.
Governance.
Then there's also the aspect of political development,
Okay.
or what we call developmental politics.
Okay.
All of politics that you see today is all about the rancor between and betwixt parties of different genres. Hardly does development politics come into question. So, but the moment you begin to divert attention to development, you will find that you create empowerment for the youths, the restive youths of the population. You create skills acquisition measures where you see that people at least
empowered.
They are empowered. They say an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So when your youths are gainfully employed,
they won't have time for
they
other
won't have
vices.
time for most of these vices. Then lastly, I talked about value reorientation.
National value.
Yes, national.
What is the worth of life in Nigeria?
National value reorientation. That's why we are crying for a moral revolution in our country. Okay. You know, things are going topsy-turvy. There's need for, you know, righteousness to be entrenched in the land. Right should be seen to be right. Wrong should be seen to be wrong. We must have a value system. And government must enact policies and follow up such policies so that the citizenry begin to have a feeling kind of a reorientation of the values of society.
Okay.
So anything goes, anything goes.
Now, concerning our value system, don't you think corruption is the reason for this? Because we have, way back, our parents used to tell us this: if you go out and you bring a piece of clothes that your salary can't afford and they know your income, they call you a thief and they question you. But today, you see young chaps bringing in different kind of vehicles and the rest, and there is no question at all. They are even, they are exalted and they are like, oh, we'll give you a chieftaincy title for this. Now, how do we, despite the myriad of issues we have in Nigeria, tackle the issue of corruption? Because I believe without that, Nigeria can go nowhere. And to me, I'm more interested in the persecution of people that are found wanting in corruption cases and the rest. Like our dear president has tried his best, I would say he's tried, but it seems not to be good enough. In fact, Nigerians are losing faith in the battle of corruption. What will DIA bring to the table?
Yeah, DIA will view corruption from a holistic point.
Okay.
Earlier I talked about the need for a moral revolution, and this is all-encompassing. Now, I want to give a pat on the back of the present administration for its fight against corruption, trying to recover looted funds, you know. But, you know, corruption goes beyond that. I have said, while not trying to dissipate energy and time on recovery of looted funds, let us look backwards also. I believe corruption is endemic in our system, in our society.
True.
We are all focusing on the political elite. We are all focusing on the economic elite. People who play fast and loose with the commonwealth of the citizens. We are focusing on them. We are forgetting behind us. Corruption is found both with the leadership and the followership. A woman who sells gari in the market and knocks the bottom of the mudu in order to give a perception of full mudu when indeed you are selling half mudu for full mudu, that is corruption, my brother.
True.
A woman who sends her daughter to Benin, I mean, probably a woman from Benin who sends her daughter to Italy to do some form of prostitution or the other, that's a form, that's corruption. A teacher who is bribed for passing a student in school. Both the teacher and the parent are bribes, and the student are all corrupt. So, my brother, what I'm saying is this. Corruption, the fight against corruption should be double-pronged.
Okay.
One, the justice system must work. The justice system must work. The judiciary must be seen to work. That is the way that we will have what you call a self-correcting mechanism, bringing about the moral revolution that we're talking about. Countries all over the world, there is corruption in countries all over the world, but there are control systems.
True.
Control systems. So the enforcement of controls is what will go a long way to reduce corruption, both at the leadership level and at the followership level.
Okay. Now, because we are pressed for time, I will just mention some few issues I feel are baffling or are causing a stir amongst Nigerians. Now, the issue of agriculture. What are you going to do about that? Because the truth is, Nigerians are hungry. What are you going to do about the issue of agriculture?
You know, that's one of the most ironic part of our existence as a people. With vast arable land available to us. All of these years, we have not been able to be self-sufficient in food production. Food security still remains a major problem with us as a people. We are blessed with very good weather conditions. Countries like Dubai, for example, a lot of countries in the Middle East, they experience rainfall just once a year. In the Scandinavian countries, you have the land, you know, filled with snow. About only 3 months of the year do they have, you know, perfect sunlight that can, you know, guarantee agricultural plants. Here we have the land.
We have the weather.
Arable land. I need to qualify it very well. We have arable land.
And we have the people that can work on the land.
We have weather, good weather, and we have the people that can work on the land. How come we are still doing subsistence farming up till now? 21st century Nigeria. With all the developments in agricultural technology. So what D.I.A is going to do is that we are going to explore all the models that are available worldwide. We're going to bring the models down here, and we're going to see which one works for us. First, agriculture must be technologically driven. Definitely. We're going to embark on mechanized agriculture. We are going to set up farming settlements. The farmer will be proud again. The farmer will be one of the richest men in Nigeria.
Wow.
Government is going to support farm. Look, we're not going to be farming for subsistence alone. We are going to be farming for exportation.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So as to enlarge our GDP.
You know, it's ironic because even this herdsmen killing over cattle rearing is still part of agriculture if you look at it. And advanced countries have a way of breeding having their meats, traveling around, getting this same meat exported in terms of beef, canned produce, and the rest. But we in Nigeria, we are still killing ourselves over, because I call it agriculture. Cow, the end product of cows being killed or being sold is to be eaten at home. How come we are fighting over this? How come our leaders are not looking at what is the best way for us to go into this herdsman issue? For you, you have a thing with the nuts. People have been, no holds bar on this program. People have been saying the president is like a patron of the Mieti Allah. That's why he has been pussyfooting on curbing the herdsman crisis. But you growing up in the north, you should have a better insight concerning this herdsman farmers clash. In 1 minute, what will be your position if you are president on such issue if they raise their heads after 2019?
Okay, you see, like I said, we have to be thinking nationalistically. We also have to be thinking futuristically. Okay. You know, we're not thinking about our generation now because our generation is fast spent. We're looking at the future Nigerians. Want to see how we can build a Nigeria that we can bequeath to generations coming yet unborn. Talking about the issue of herdsmen and farmers clashes. I was born in the north. I grew up in the north. I grew up amongst Fulanis. Times there were when we looked forward to December period when the Fulanis came to do what you call sharo. You know, when they want to give their daughters out in wedding. There's this ceremony we call sharo, Hot Ija. Everybody went to look at all of these ceremonies. We enjoyed ourselves. We stayed peacefully together.
Coexisting.
Today, one is surprised at all of these onslaughts. But they can be copped, and I'll tell you how we do it. We will encourage ranching.
Okay.
Look at the entire Sambisa forest. Sambisa forest has become to us something of an anathema as a result of Boko Haram. Yeah. I'm telling you, the president of Rwanda made one statement, I think last week or so, I don't know. He said, they buried us. They intended to bury us. But they didn't know that they just planted us as seeds. And when we grew up, Rwanda became a different thing altogether. Rwanda today is a model in Africa, for development. We are going to, as D.I.A, we are going to change Sambisa forest, the infamous Sambisa forest, to the agricultural hub of Nigeria.
Okay.
We are going to carry out ranching, even that the sort that Netherlands has not seen before. We are going to bring economic power to that region by encouraging cattle ranching in that part and in some other parts of the north where it will be a viable business. It will also contribute to GDP, and the farmers will be, I mean, the pastoralists will be better off for it. They will be much richer. They will be better off for it. And Sambisa, that used to be anathema, will now be a desired thing.
Okay, D.I.A, we're wrapping up now because we're pressed for time, but I would love you to just brush through the issue of oil in Nigeria and power. We have so much oil. We export our barrels of crude oil, and we import refined products for a higher price. We're talking about fuel subsidy. The price of fuel for today runs between 145 here in the south to 143. Over there in the south and the rest, they get it for over 200 naira. What are you going to do about our oil, God-given oil and power?
There's been too much emphasis on oil, you know. There's been too much emphasis on oil as it's become a monoproduct economy that we run in Nigeria. You know, but we are trying to diversify. D.I.A, we ensure that we diversify the economic base.
Okay.
However, with our oil, we could use oil in better ways. We are going to build our own refineries. We are going to build new refineries, maintain existing ones. We are going to create modular refineries in the areas where oil is produced.
Okay.
Okay? So we are going to be able to refine our own oil for our own use and export finished products. But with regards to other ways that we could use our oil, for example, Saudi Arabia developed Saudi Arabia with American technology in exchange for Saudi Arabian oil. Most of these technological developments that we seek today, we may not have to pay money for them. Most of the infrastructure that we are desiring today, we shouldn't be talking of buses at this time in Nigeria. We should be talking about light rails. We're talking about fast trains moving you from one part of the country to another. We can, we can achieve all 36 states connected by fast train just by doing oil exchanges. We won't have to spend much money. We'll be looking at these areas because the oil is God-given, is there. It's meant for us to develop as a help for ourselves, but we need to strategize properly. We have to have good plans, strategize, and then implement our strategy for the benefit of the generality of Nigerians. A lot more we can do with oil, which I will reveal to you in the years to come.
Finally, power. Nigeria is seen to be a dark nation. I mean, in quotes. Power. How do we tackle the issue of power in Nigeria?
It's been what you call our Achilles heel, this issue of power. And given the amounts of money that was spent over the years trying to revamp the power sector with little progress, you know, it's saddening. What we will look at as an administration is to see how we can decentralize power generation and its transmission. We are going to see how we can introduce other sources of energy. Okay, if gas is what is found in the south-south, let gas produce power for the South people. If solar, sun, is what is found in the northern part in abundance, let us get companies from the east or from the west, as the case may be, who are specialized in grand solar energy production. Come and set up these solar energy plants and let us begin to have what you call the drive towards industrialization.
Beautiful. Because
no matter how much we project to bring about industrialization into our country, without power, without energy, we can just go so far and things will not leap off the ground. So power is a major thrust of our government's policies, and we are going to follow it to the very last. We'll decentralize. Wherever you have strength, in the north central states you have hydro, in the south you have gas, in the solar, north you have solar, in other parts you could have wind. We exploit all of these things, you know. If you don't try, you will not succeed.
Wow. You
have to give a try to all options that are on the table and look at the best option and adopt. The intention is that the objective must be achieved. You always look at the objective in the end. There's a lot of politicking with issues of national security, issues of economic development. You politic it, you play politics with it. But I think politics you have, where it stops.
Okay. And
development where it starts.
Okay. All right. All this you've said, can it be achieved within 4 years?
Listen, I've always believed that in order to advance in life, I would rather light a candle than cause the night. When I light a candle, the candle is lit. It sets the direction.
Okay.
4 years is not enough. A new administration comes, they follow the dream.
But that has not been our tradition in Nigeria over the years.
Unfortunately, because of this thing I still call politicking. If we focus on politics of development, I think things will move from stage to stage, and successive administrations will build on the achievements of previous administrations. Good is good anywhere in the world.
True.
Something good should be promoted and is desirable.
All right. Sir, in rounding up, what is your message to the Nigerian youths and Nigeria as a whole? Your message to them.
My message to the Nigerian people is this. This is the time for a new Nigeria. This is the time to recreate our country. There is a vision for a better Nigeria on the table right now. So I call on the youths, I call on the generality of Nigerian people to cash into this vision. Fly with this vision. Vote GDPN, Grassroots Development Party of Nigeria. Vote Davidson Isibor Akhimnien as your President Commander-in-Chief 2019. And I'm telling you, in 4 years, Nigeria will not be the same again. I promise you that.
All right, that's a promise we will hold on to. I wish you good luck.
Thank you very much.
It's been a wonderful time on Project Nigeria. We'll be bringing you more of our presidential aspirants and everyone who is aspiring to hold one position in our constituted authority in Nigeria. Don't go nowhere. Same time next week, we'll bring you another episode of Project Nigeria. Until then, keep being a Nigerian heart. Do what is good, do what is right. Go get your PVCs and be ready to vote towards 2019 general election. I remain John Ray. I keep watching AFOREVO TV. Nigeria must work.